Hey, this is Mrs. Gervasio here with Monday's homework. Okay, be sure to watch and re-watch the tutorial, pause for the practice problems, and of course come back and check and see how you did. Complete the homework at the end of the tutorial and of course show all of your work.
How do you name and classify these geometric figures? In this lesson, you will learn how to label and name points, lines, rays, and angles by using math notation. Let's review. A point names a specific location, so we have points C and D on this ray in specific locations. Now when we have a line, we know that the line extends in both directions without ending. The arrows help us to identify this line. This line has the letters A and B. In order to name this line, we're going to call it line AB. But the way we would write it is AB and the line symbol above it, and then we would say this is line AB. Or we could call this line BA. Now a line segment is part of a line that is between two endpoints. So here is one line segment, and here is the other line segment. Now the way we would show these line segments using math notation is we would write the letters AB and then a line without arrows because this is a segment of a line, and we would say this is line segment AB. Or we could write for this other line segment DG with the line segment above it and then call it line segment DG. When we have a ray, we know that it's part of a line that has one endpoint and goes in one direction. That endpoint tells us which letter to write first. In this case, we have C and D. The letter C will serve as our endpoint, so we will write ray CD, CD with the ray above the letters, to identify that this is going to be a ray, and we would call it ray CD. Let's look at a common misunderstanding when it comes to rays. So sometimes when students are writing the name of an angle or ray, they start with whatever letter they choose, they decide. So it's important to understand that when writing the name of a ray, we know that it has one endpoint and continues in one direction. So when we name a ray, we start with the endpoint and then the other point. So C is our endpoint, so C would go first, and then we would have D, CD. Ray CD. Let's continue. So for angles, let's look at our angles. We have here right acute and obtuse angles, and angles are formed by two rays with an endpoint called a vertex. Now let's look at this angle here, CAR. So using this example, we would call this angle CAR, and we would say it's called angle CAR, or we can go in the opposite direction and call it angle RAC. Another way to name an angle is to use one letter, which is the vertex, and this only applies when there is only one angle within this vertex in a diagram. So this angle would be angle A. Now, a common misunderstanding when we name an angle is that we must remember that an angle is made up of two rays and a shared endpoint. The endpoints meet at the vertex of the angle. So when we name this angle, we start with one point on one ray, the vertex, and then the point on the other ray. So sometimes you'll see angle ARC or CRA. Those are not correct. So the correct way to name this angle would be angle CAR or angle RAC, or angle A. Now, when we're looking at perpendicular lines, when we have pairs of lines, we can describe them as perpendicular or parallel. So let's take a look at how to name perpendicular lines. When we name perpendicular lines, we use the same labeling for lines, but what we are adding is the language. So here we have line AB, and we're going to use the symbol to identify that line AB is perpendicular to line CD. And the little symbol in between the letters is a perpendicular sign. Or we could say line BA is perpendicular to line DC. We just have to remember that the order of the points do not matter because lines continue in both directions. Let's look at parallel lines. Now these two lines never intersect, which means never to cross. So we have our two lines and our letter names. Now there are a few ways to name these parallel lines. We can write that line CD is parallel to line EF. And the two lines in between the letters, that shows that the lines are parallel. And how do we say it? Line CD is parallel to line EF. Or we could switch the letters. Line DC is parallel to FE. Just remembering that once again, the order of the points do not matter because lines continue in both directions. So how do you name and classify geometric figures? Let's look at this geometric figure. We are going to pull an angle out of the geometric figure, and then we're going to name it. So we could say this is angle IJK, or angle KJI, or we could just use the vertex, angle J. In this lesson, you've learned how to label and name points, lines, rays, and angles by using math notation.
Okay, and here's the part of the homework that you need to actually bring into class tomorrow. Oh, that's okay. It's not very many problems at all. All right, I want you to use the geometric terms that you have learned to describe what you see on your screen. So what would you call that? And do the same thing for what you see on your screen now. You need to write down what those are called. All right, and I want you to look at the picture on your screen and name two lines, not line segments, two lines. And then look at the picture on your screen now and name two lines that are perpendicular. And now which two lines are parallel? That one's pretty easy. And again, you're going to use your geometric terms that you've learned to say what this is that you see on your screen. So what is that? And same thing for this angle. What type of angle is on your screen now? And then you're going to look at this figure on your screen and you're going to name two obtuse angles. And now name two line segments. And which is a geometric term for angle HJK? Is it an acute angle, obtuse angle, right angle, or a straight angle? And there you have it. There was your homework for tonight. Any problems, make sure to talk to me tomorrow. All right? That's it. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.